someone's birthday. Shigeru Miyamoto turns 70, and if you don't know who he is, well, you must be new to gaming. I'll put it like that. You must be really new to gaming, and you probably haven't maybe bought a Nintendo yet, or you don't really keep up with some of the developers. Either way, he is the creator of your Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Pikmin, and Star Fox, to name a few. And I wanted to sit here and talk about what's some of your favorite Nintendo games that they made that you enjoy.
So I like Smash Brothers.
You like Smash Brothers?
I like
okay.
That franchise. Of course, Mario the platformer. Now I'm not as good as platformers as I used to be, but I do enjoy, Mario as a character, as a game. I respect, that title for what it is.
Is there any Mario game to you that stood out that you enjoyed under that library?
Man, I want to say when like Mario 3 came out, like Super Mario Bros. 3, like it just looked so cool, like the raccoon. And then, you had, like, the frog suit.
All the different suits. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game was just, like, so cool. And then when, like, you had the All-Stars come out, and it had all of them, and then the Lost Levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was pretty dope. So, yeah, like, Mario All-Stars or Mario 3, like, I always thought those were, like, everybody's like, oh, N64 Mario. That was cool, but the suits started in Super Mario 3.
Yeah. Super Mario World is my my favorite Mario game, and is probably my favorite game of all time. Like out of all the games that we played, I think that's just a great replayable game. I think it's a great map, like how to make platforming levels and whatnot. But when it comes to 3D ones, weirdly enough, like I like Mario 64 a lot. I think it definitely deserves a spot. Did it age very well? Well, I think it does deserve a remake by now, kind of,
It got somewhat of a remake.
It got a remaster per se, but not I want like an actual like a Mario Odyssey looking kind of game for Mario 64.
Because it got the 3D All-Stars and they threw it in the vault.
Sure, but I think if that game is so iconic, I think it's time for the new generation to try it and with a new coat of paint. Okay. Especially like where the engines are going, and hopefully maybe in the future, maybe on the next like successor for the Switch, maybe we might get that. But Mario Odyssey is definitely up there. It's probably up there as probably my favorite 3D. In general, I think it's my favorite 3D Mario game because I like the Mario Galaxies a lot. But due to the way the controllers was, when it comes to like playing on the Wii, it's more of like I have to be in the mood to enjoy that game for what it is. Yeah, no, it's fun, but like I said, you have to be mentally ready for it, and sometimes you just want to play with a controller. Now, granted, the Galaxy one on the 3D All-Star one was decent. Decent. I wish it also did that for Mario Galaxy 2, but I have it on my Wii U, so I'll definitely have to be in the mood to play that. But like Zelda, of course, is a really great franchise. In general, Link to the Past is still one of my favorite ones. I know a lot of people, I think, now have put Breath of the Wild definitely on their top list. Even though I like that game for what it is, I always still like the kind of more tradition, get in and get out kind of Zelda games. Like, you know what you're supposed to do and go. But I know a lot of people like open world games, so that Breath of the Wild definitely fits their category of what they're looking for. But Wind Waker is definitely up there as like one of my favorite Zelda games. I think I like it because it just took a risk to be something different, and I think it paid off in my opinion, and I think that it had the most personality Zelda and whatnot. Now, funny enough, we do a show called Buddy Up Gaming, and we did another iconic game from the library, and that's Donkey Kong Country.
Yes.
Even though Miyamoto was kind of producing it and it was mainly made by Rare, it definitely took the Great Ape into a different direction than the old school of like he was just the villain dealing with Mario. He kind of got his own thing, and that definitely changed the game of platforming for 2D at least.
Yeah, the 3D backgrounds with the 2D still side scrolling. I mean, that was great. And even now with the Tropic,
you got Donkey Kong Returns and then Tropical Freeze.
Tropical Freeze, like, man, I still want Tropical Freeze. Nintendo, if you drop that price, I will buy.
Yeah, I think your best bet, sadly, you don't own it, and we'll be talking about it in our next news, but if you have a Wii U, that's probably the cheaper way to get the copy, because, they're not going to roll that Switch edition down anytime soon. And so, or a lot of the Wii U games that got ported over in that console. But yeah, no, Tropical Freeze is a good one. I think also was like one of the few games where like you can not only compete against each other, but you can also co-op in Donkey Kong Country. Yep. And the cool part is like on the fly of like you could just switch who can lead and not lead and all that stuff. So I thought that was really unique in that way. But I think my favorite thing about Donkey Kong was the barrels. I know a lot of people probably go with the carts, and I like the carts, but those barrels, man, just you fling it everywhere. It was awesome, man. Like it's almost like a ping pong machine, especially like in World 3, where I think that's how far we got from one of our videos, where it was just all like barrel levels.
Yeah,
you know,
timing.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and then you were talking about like the 3D models and everything. That was really cool, and it introduced another iconic character and the family itself, starting with Diddy Kong, and then follow with Dixie and all that stuff. So it's really cool that some of those characters even, like you added to the Smash Bros. Library that you like so much. And then the other one that is also mentioned on the list that they're doing it, Star Fox, which I think Star Fox is becoming the black sheep. I mean, Kirby's getting more entries in Star Fox, but
I think Kirby will always have entries though, because it just seems like a cheap game to make, and like there's a lot of Kirby fans.
There is, and it's the easiest game to do experimental ideas with. Star Fox is tough because it's sometimes Star Fox.
We have high expectations of Star Fox.
Well, they don't know what to do with it, I guess. That's the problem, because no matter what, people always go back to Star Fox 64, and it kind of shows that like we still haven't found a game to be talked about after Mario Kart 64. And it sucks because, you see Mario, and, every time there's a new Mario game, it gets it gets the title that people think is better than the last one. From Mario 3 to Mario World to 64. At least there's those in the conversation. Star Fox doesn't get that. It's more like, it's 64 or nothing. So
pretty much, because it's like, do you do a single player game? Because if you don't do a multiplayer, then people are going to be like, well, Star Fox 64 had multiplayer. And if you do a multiplayer and it's bad, they're going to be like, Star Fox 64 multiplayer was better. And then if you do a straight up flying game, is it on rails like your old Star Fox, or is it open freeform flying? Like, I mean, there's just a lot. Like Star Fox, it's one of those games you don't just go into making it very lightly. There's a lot of expectations with it, and nobody wants a bad Star Fox game.
Yeah, it's sad that the risk idea they did with them did not pay off for a lot of people, and that was Star Fox Zero for the Wii U.
Yep. And
I think a lot of people were asking for like a traditional Star Fox Zero style game to come to like a Switch, like minus the force, gyroscoping, motion controls. It worked for like a game like Splatoon, but Star Fox, it did not. And I think sometimes we realize as gamers for ourselves, is when it comes to games that involve motion stuff, that we like the option, but we don't like it to be the permanent.
Yeah. And
so, because I think it would have sold well if I'll try with this, but at the end of the day, like, no, maybe I just want to play it traditionally. Yeah. And so, but he's 70, right? And for his career, it's pretty damn impressive. Like, I know a lot of people compare him as like the Walt Disney of like the video games, or the Steven Spielberg of video games and whatnot. And like, regardless what you want to like compare him, he deserves it in any way it's possible, man. Like, the guy that created these iconic characters that a lot of games, regardless if you're not a fan of those characters, you are a fan of the gameplay that those games did. Like, if you're not a Zelda fan, there is games that are influenced by Zelda that you like, either like The Witcher. If you're not a Mario fan, guess what? There are games that Mario set the field for those kind of games. So for Miyamoto to really do this for that long, it's an awesome resume. You know what I mean? Yeah. So happy birthday to him. He deserves it. And hopefully he can pump some more out before he retires, if he wants to retire. He might just go through the end. So